Over the years, I've released a lot of reliability videos on SUVs to small city cars to engines that will never die, and everyone has been loving the content I put out. In fact, so much they've asked for more on this channel, which has become a bit of a common theme. With the help of all the auto magazines and the reviewers, I have compiled a list of 5 cars in 2023 that are the most reliable you can buy. Everyone loves reliability in the UK, so I do hope you enjoy this video.
Oh God, please, no! No!
In no particular order, we have the Lexus NX. Lexus has been well known over the last few years for having cars consistently in reliability surveys and winning very highly. The NX is no surprise that it's in here, and it's actually been a car that was launched back in 2014. Its owners remark that the 2014 NX is almost perfect with an average of 9.98 across all the reviewers. Its reliability is very much premium, and it's considered a bit different compared to your average BMW X3 to Q5, which is what the majority of people might go for. Lexus is often considered with having high running costs, but long term looking at this car, it's actually really good. Aside from that, a lot of the Lexus going forward into 2023 not only has a sharp and modern look, but also has a power efficient hybrid powertrain, which makes it cheap to run and capable of 54 mpg at the minimum. Lexus is well known for its build quality, and I'm not surprised the NX is in here. It's definitely a vehicle I would go for as an alternative. Unfortunately, the American ones do look a bit weird with their front end, and they cost around £15,000 in the UK now. Next up is the Hyundai Tucson, which is one of the best family SUVs you can buy on the market today, which is close to the NX. It's also one of the most reliable, and its owners scored it a 9.96 as well as the reviewers on average, which is pretty close to the NX. The Tucson seems to have made a bit of a comeback over the last few years, and now is kind of a popular car that you'll see everywhere. It's also a really popular hire car, and that's always a good reason to know that it's a reliable car. If that's not enough to put your mind at rest, Hyundai also offer a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, which is ridiculously fantastic.
Wow.
It's not just the reliability of the Tucson that does well, it's also super cheap to run because it's a Hyundai. You can get 1.6 petrol engines varying from a degree of hybrid assistance. The mild hybrid does provide a small bit of boost and extra efficiency compared to a regular SUV with petrol. While the hybrid is more efficient without the need for the faff around of charging, you're happy to plug in and drive up to 38 miles on an unelectric power motor. So the Hyundai Tucson does make sense on paper. It's definitely more interesting, and it's definitely got its competitors such as the Volvo XC40 and X1 next to it, but it does look completely different from anything else, and being Hyundai, it's cheap to maintain. Prices for these new cars are anywhere from 20 to 30,000 at the moment. Kia once again fills this niche and didn't really need to be filled, but slotting in between family SUVs and a mid-size hatchback is the regular Ceed. The Kia Ceed has been well known and got a good history now of family cars behind it, which were really reliable. And there's actually clear appeal here. It's kind of rugged, and while buyers love the X Ceed, slightly raised higher seating position, this is also just as good, and it's kind of a bit more of a regular sized car. The X Ceed has scored 9.96 on average in 2022. Owners absolutely love the fact that this is a very reliable, rugged car, and it's a bit more sporty and exciting now than they used to be. It also performs well too, ahead of Mitsubishi, Mazda, and its sister brand Hyundai, and just like Hyundai and Kia is known for its generous warranty. X Ceed buyers are covered up to 7 years and 100,000 miles, so not quite as good as Hyundai I would say, but still pretty decent. X Ceeds are actually pretty reliable and well priced for 23,000 and upwards. On Heycar you can buy a used one for around 15,000. It's probably no surprise that there's a Toyota on this list, but it is launched from 2013 onwards, which is the Auris. The Auris has been around for quite 10 years now actually at this point, and out of all of the Toyotas on this list, it's probably the least exciting and not least of the exciting cars on this list. But there's a lot to be said for dull and dependable cars. There's a reason why the Auris is such a favourite with Uber drivers and rental cars alike across the world. This is a family hatch that is the same as a Golf, but its reputation and reliability means it's a much more dependable choice than the European alternatives. It's cheap to run, and especially to buy one of the ultra frugal hybrid models as well, which are capable of doing 72.4 mpg, which is pretty impressive. It's not really an electric car, and it's been around for quite some time. Its uninspiring image means the Toyota Auris can be a bit of a steal on the used market today as well, given its release in 2014 and 13. The production ended back in 2019 as well, but still tops the UK's most reliable cars, and that means the Auris was replaced by the charismatic Toyota Corolla as well, which you can also pick up being reliable. Some of the low mileage examples can go for around 13,000 today. Ah yes, the Dacia Duster, a car that we know from the adverts very well.
Another one drives a Duster.
It offers family SUV versatility for the price of a Ford Fiesta. And what is the catch with this? Well, we know it's one of the cheapest cars the UK has been selling for the last few years at least, but the Dacia Duster was one up from that. And it's kind of been popular with off-roaders where they're pretty good and reliable and you can just have a cheap off-road experience. Well, it's certainly not just reliability, but you might expect the bargain basement Duster to be lacking in the build quality department. But it is genuinely one of the most reliable cars you can buy on the used car market. The Dacia Duster arrived in 2018 with a petrol and diesel engine and was looking pretty drab for its original looks. The LPG followed in 2020 and representing an interesting cheap to run alternative hybrid SUV, the money is good on a 1.3 petrol engine. Although, let's not forget, it is essentially a Renault underneath, and whether that's good or not, it still comes out as a very reliable car. It's got a good combination of performance and economy, and it's got some grunt for 1 litre. One of the things to bear in mind with a Duster is that, unlike some of the competitors like the MG ZS, you can get a 3-year, 60,000 mile warranty, and you can extend it for a fee, which is not bad because a lot of used cars don't even offer that. I quite like the Dacia Duster because you can modify it as well, and it does look pretty cool for a cheap alternative SUV compared to a Land Rover. You can pick up a new Dacia for around 15,000, and Matt Watson approves. We got this list with the final car for 2023, and sometimes it does take a while for the car to be on the market to become the most reliable. This is no exception with the BMW i3 launched back in 2013. While its quirky and characterful electric city car with an abundance of clever design features range can more than 200 miles on a single charge, it has now been replaced by the more conventional XI1 SUV, which is a bit of a shame in some ways, but the i3 is still in the market and tops the owner's most reliable electric car, according to some of the magazines as well. You might think that a used electric car is a bit of an out-there purchase and probably not reliable at all, but actually EVs tend to be exceptionally reliable, and mechanically they're very simple to just change a battery out, driving the wheels really, so there's only a few parts that can go wrong. The i3 was really popular with a lot of people because it came out when it was a electric car time and still is turning into that, as well as being a BMW and slightly more futuristic. It also goes for just less than 20,000 now if you wanted to get a 2017 i3. The battery range is definitely more than desirable. A small number of i3s produced between October 2015 and November 2015 do have an issue where there's a regenerative braking system, but overall this car is actually quite cool. Despite its looks, I think it's actually pretty useful, BMW badge, and it's reliable. It's almost a perfect daily city car.
Don't forget to subscribe if you like car content.